friend of mine texted me recently and wanted me to see if I could fix one of his knives, and I told him I'd do what I could. So this is what he mailed me. So he had sent me a picture of this. I want to take a look at this. And I see it says CRKT. I could see that right there. And it's got a flipper. It doesn't pop very well. Oh, and there's why it's broken. He said that this wouldn't be a hard fix. CRKT, it's an igniter, is the name. Looks like it's got some, I would say, G10 scales on it. I love the black and the green. And it's a great size. I love it, just a basic clip point blade. Great size, great weight. He's an old friend. I know what actually happened is he wanted to ride his motorcycle down here to bring this to me and show me his motorcycle. We used to ride together before he went off to the Marines, and I have to thank JJ for his service. Fought back in the day, and he couldn't bring me this by his motorcycle. He couldn't, so he mailed it to me, and we're going to, on camera, we're going to fix it. And then I'll sharpen it for him and send it back to him. Let me get out some drivers here and see what size we need. That looks pretty small. Let's see. There is a small stop that is supposed to go across the back here to stop the blade from going any farther than this, and it has come loose and needs to go back in there, and obviously it came loose because these screws loosened up. So I am going to loosen up these pivot screws and see if I can get that in there just enough. Tell you what, I'm going to go get another tool. Hold on just a minute. I went to get a pair of these clamps. I've worked with people in the medical field. I was able to get some of these. They are extremely handy. I love a good tool, and this is definitely a great tool. It has a locking mechanism up here, so once you clamp on, those pieces lock together, hold the piece tight, and then you just separate it gently and it pops open. So I'm going to use these to hold this piece, long and slender. Let me get the lock out of position so I can move the blade a little bit. I can see the holes these are supposed to go into, and I've opened it up just enough. There we go. I've got that in place. Now, before it slips out of place, I need to tighten the side, this pivot, and I have tightened that finger tight. So now, let's see if something is tight. It doesn't flip open like it should, because I can see a spring down in there. It's a long metal piece, a spring right down the center that, in this position, it's cocked, pushed against its spring position, and then when you start to move it, it flicks that open, but it seems to have lost some of its power, or the blade is so tight that it's not wanting to do it. I'll back that screw off just a little bit. Now I had to give it a good flick. Let me see if I can see that spring doesn't quite get what I expect. I have to give it quite a flick in order to pop it open. So I might need lubricant. I think I'm going to get a little silicone spray and play with it. So hold on just a minute, I'll get that. Got an old denim rag I'm going to put down. Got some silicone lubricant I'm going to use. It not as greasy as something like WD-40. WD-40, because of its oily, greasy nature, attracts and holds dust. So I like to use silicone because it dries. Doesn't leave any. So I'm going to try some silicone in this joint right here. And I'll work this back and forth to maybe get it where it needs. Let's see if it changes anything. Oh, it felt a lot easier to open. I think what I'm going to do is put some thread locker, but I'm going to try it on this just to slow this down a little bit. And I'll put it on the threads here. Okay. Not too tight, but tight enough. See how this feels. Okay, that feels pretty good. I think I'm going to call that good. So we got a repair. It was an easy repair. Just putting a backstop on this. Replacing this piece right here. Stops the blade from going any farther. Use some thread lock on the pivot screw so that it doesn't work its way loose, and then use some silicone lubricant to kind of loosen it up, lubricate it a little bit. I hope you'll subscribe. I thank you for watching. Comment, do you use silicone for lubricating? Do you use that thread lock for keeping things tight? Do you have a CRKT igniter? That is a really sweet size. I like that. We're going to sharpen it up, and not too bad as it is right now. We'll sharpen it up, and then we'll mail it back to JJ. Thanks for watching.